but it requires two people who are hands-on, who are ready to get their hands dirty with diapers. Hi, you guys. Today we're talking about the only 3 deal breakers you need when dating.
Absolutely. So we've been professional matchmakers for almost 9 years. So after 9 years, we've truly honed down and we've realized that there are only 3 deal breakers that are truly
essential.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. These are the make or break deal breakers. If you're dating somebody and they have one of these deal breakers, it's time to say
goodbye. Deal breaker number 1. Do you want to get married? Very important.
Essential.
Yes.
This is an essential deal breaker. If you have in your heart that you want to get married, it's very important to be upfront with that desire. And maybe it's not getting married like in a month or in, this year, but maybe it's dating somebody with the intention of getting married.
Right. And certain people have different timelines on this. So for you, if you're ready to take that step in the next year or 2 years or in a shorter period of time, you want to be with someone who's on that same time frame as you and not saying, oh, no, that would be maybe a 5 or 10 year plan.
No. 10 years down the line, maybe.
Not for you. Not
getting
for
my
you.
Career in order right now, but
right.
Maybe 10 years down the line. So yeah, absolutely. It's not only important to want to get married, but It's also recognizing that you need to be with a partner who's in the same chapter as you are and has the same desire for their future.
Right. And
in terms of marriage.
It's not going to work out if someone is fed up with the institution of marriage and you want to get married. Of course, that it goes without saying. But even if you have an amazing connection with this person, you can't date to convert them to want to get married.
Absolutely. That's so true, Christina, because there are a lot of people that come in and they're like, well, I do really want to get married, but I also don't want to be matched with somebody who is like desperate to get married. But the problem is if somebody verbalizes that they don't want to get married and they don't believe in the institution of marriage. And though you want to get married and you do actually believe in the institution of marriage, it doesn't matter if you are Beyonce. It doesn't matter if you're Adriana Lima. They are not going to want to marry you. Okay? So do they want to get married? And is that compatible with what your needs and your wants are?
Beautiful. Deal breaker number 2. Do you want to have children?
Oh, this is after Christina has just had a little child.
Yes.
And if we have learned anything over the past 9 years, and especially over the last 9 months, it's that you need to be with somebody who actually wants to have children if you desire to have children, because it is a lot of work.
Right.
It's a big deal.
And it is probably one of the most joyful things you can ever experience in your whole life. So it's a wonderful thing, but it requires 2 people who are hands-on, who are ready to get their hands dirty with diapers.
It's very dirty.
Exactly. Are okay with knowing that you're going to have some nights where you don't get much sleep. There's a lot that goes into taking care of a newborn and taking care of raising children.
Yeah.
That's why it has to be something that both of you want. And even if in the beginning, I know for even myself or some bachelorettes who I've date coached in the past, they may not be so gung-ho in the beginning of wanting to have children, but they're open to it. And that's okay.
Yeah.
As long as someone has that open heart, they may not be ready when you first meet them to pop out children, which is fine because it takes a long time to court the person, to get engaged, to get married. There's a few years in there, but
Absolutely.
And then even to conceive a child. But as long as their desire is there and something that they are willing to open themselves to, that is important.
If that's what you want.
Right.
But if you do not want to have children, do not date somebody who desperately wants to have children or even who's open to the possibility of having children. That is very important because for you to also self-regulate that. Because if you do not want to have children and say you're an older guy, or maybe you're even in your 30s, 40s, or 50s and you're dating women in their 20s and 30s, these are prime years for reproduction. Mm-hmm. So if you go in and you're like, oh yeah, I don't really want kids, but I want to date somebody younger, that's fine. But just be open and be upfront about that. Because there are women who are younger who don't want to have children and who do not have that desire at all, but you are really taking away those prime years if you're dating a woman who wants to have kids and you really don't want to have kids.
Right.
So you really need to self-regulate that, guys. And women also keeping that in mind. Like, you may like younger guys, but you may have already had children and now you want to have fun. But if you're a little older and you're dating men in their 20s, 30s, or even early 40s for men, if you're dating people who want to have children, you need to self-regulate that. So if you do want children, you need to make sure that the person that you're dating actually wants to have children in a genuine way. And if you don't want to have children, you need to really make sure that the people that you're dating, even if you are attracted to a younger type, make sure that really they do not have that desire to have children, because that's taking a lot away from them.
Deal breaker number 3 is your religion compatible.
So this is something that's really near and dear to our hearts as matchmakers, because we work with Jewish men and women, and we also work with a lot of Catholic and Christian men and women. And it's difficult because the value system is actually very similar. And even with other just religious types, but I'm just saying Christian and Jewish because they're primarily, we work with a lot of people in those religions who are more serious, and they do share a very similar value system. But the problem is you do really need to make sure that familial-wise, family-wise, you are actually able to marry somebody who's outside of your religion, or that your religions are compatible. Say it's a Catholic girl who loves to go to church every Sunday, and she would ideally like a guy that would go to church with her occasionally. It's important to have that reckoning of like, oh, would I be comfortable going to church once in a while? If it's a no, then that is not religious compatibility.
Right.
So we're going to tell you a story about one of our bachelorettes named Jessica. Jessica was a beautiful young Catholic woman, and she wasn't like super serious. She didn't go to church every day, every other Sunday, let's say. And she did have a strong connection to her faith community, and she was more spiritual than anything. She was really open to dating men of other religions.
She met an amazing Jewish man at a party, and they were very attracted to each other. He asked her out, and she said, great. So they went on a few dates, and things were going really well. Their personalities gelled so well. She was really excited about him.
And then they became exclusive. They ended up dating then for a few more months, and things were going really wonderfully. And the topic of religion would come up, but they never really dove in too deep about their religion. And it was Christmas Eve. And she said, hey, do you want to come to Christmas Eve Mass? It would be so much fun. You know, it's really just such a fun holiday. And he said, yeah, I'm not really comfortable going to Mass. And then that opened up the religion conversation once again. And he ultimately said, listen, I think you're amazing. I think you're wonderful, but I could never marry a Catholic girl. I could date somebody Catholic, but you would have to convert. But just for the marriage, like it, you know, and just culturally, you know, you can believe whatever you want to believe, but you would have to convert. My family would never accept you. So Of course, we all know how this story ends. This is not Sex in the City where she does end up converting. Our bachelorette Jessica said, listen, you're amazing, but I can't convert. That's not something that I can do. Right. And then, not that it was a waste of, all the months that they were dating, but it was really difficult for her because here was somebody who had everything else that she was looking for, but the religion really did drive a wedge in anything that could potentially be more than just dating. All right, you guys, so let's review.
Deal breaker number 1. Do you want to get married?
Deal breaker number 2, do you want to have children?
And deal breaker number 3, is your religion compatible?
Thank you guys so much for watching this video and for tuning in with us every single week. We have a new video every single week on the Matchmakers in the City YouTube channel, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything. Thank you so much, and we will see you guys next week. Bye.